welcome to BCB Live. Drive safe, Dave. Happy birthday on Saturday, and you went a little deer hunting?
I did. I had a
Talk
good
to
time.
us about, did you nail yourself a buck?
No, I got a doe. I went and got a doe. I did shoot a doe this weekend. Had a lot of fun. Got up early. Went out to the deer blind early. Was out there bright and early. Didn't get much sleep
How many times did you say early?
because it was early.
Well, when you go deer hunting, you tend to do that. That's just what goes on. Bright and early. Is bright and early earlier than early?
It wasn't
It's
bright
not
and early.
bright.
It was dark and early.
All right, there you go. So you got yourself a little doe. We saw that. I heard from the rumor mill, and Drive Say, Dave, that you're the sharpshooter. I'm a hunter. I'm the big hunter around here. I'm walking around and doing all this. I heard you missed the first shot.
I did. I did miss the first shot. I'm going to be honest. I pulled it, and I shoot open sights. I don't use a big scope like everybody does.
Maybe you should.
Yeah, maybe I should.
Maybe you should.
But I pulled it on the first one, but in the second one was right on target. And anyway, it was a lot of fun. Had a really nice time. Got away, got a little peace and quiet out there with nature, and got to see a lot of animals. Got to see a lot of just scenery.
That's good. A little out there in the wild. Good to see that. Glad you see any fox, any pigs.
I did see
like
some
that?
fox. You know what?
You saw fox.
I wanted to see some pig.
Hold on a second. You saw foxes out there? You just said
coyote.
that. We have you.
Coyote. Yeah,
Is that kind of the same thing?
kind of the same thing?
Is that like? Didn't we have the lady that had a pet fox? It sounds like you may be in that same thing. I had a little pet.
I'm telling you. Well, coyote, fox. You know
Come
what they're
on.
saying? Same I mean, you just change the genus. I mean, the species,
Dog,
right?
same with the
K9.
dog.
Yeah, that'd be the genus.
I got it. All right. So now it doesn't seem so crazy that she didn't realize that she had a pet fox all the time that was killing the neighbors,
No, I saw coyotes.
chickens and ducks and all that. Hey, did you see the YouTube? YouTube steps up to the plate, says, hey, no more disliking ever.
They're gonna have the dislike button. It's just not gonna be public knowledge. So you'll be able to use it for yourself. You'll be able to tell yourself. Your self-improvement.
Yeah,
you'll be able to say, hey, I don't really like this, but nobody else is going to get it.
So it was probably 16 years ago. Katie Bug, my daughter, she did out, Mike had posted a video of Katie singing some Taylor Swift song. And Katie Bug did a good job. I was proud of her. And she got 2 dislikes, and she was like 4 years old. And she got disliked, and one said, yeah, she was cute, but she really didn't even know all the words. I was like, come on. I mean, she's 4.
Smashing it. That's that smashing that creativity.
Ever since then, there went her dreams of being Adele out the window. No Adele anymore on her side. So we have to encourage these kids to keep their dreams. Drive safe, Dave. The NPR, okay, according to the NPR, our postmaster, General DeJoy, says, hey, we do not expect to see the delays that we saw back in 2020. What do you think about that?
I'm going to call fake news.
Yeah, right.
Fake news.
So they go, hey, we are ready is the word, right? We are ready.
Okay.
Although they do go and say, hey, that 95% expected delivery time, hey, don't expect that until 2023.
What are you ready for? Okay, so what are you ready for? You expect we're going to be a little bit later on delivery.
Yes.
All right. It's going to cost a little bit more, and we don't expect to be fully up and running until next year. So we're ready.
We are ready. I don't know.
That makes sense.
I don't know who is ready right now? I mean, first of all, you may not even get all the packages, right? That's your biggest chance of not being ready, is that maybe we don't get all the things. Hey, but so if you remember, General Postmaster General DeJoy said, hey, we are in a death spiral, right? Talking about losing billions of dollars. That was earlier this year when he went to Congress and said that. And when you're losing billions of dollars, Drive Safe Dave, I mean, 2 things. Number one, that means you're transporting in what we do. If you're losing billions of dollars, first of all, you shouldn't be around very long. Secondly, that means you're not charging enough. And I just think about that. And I think about the companies that right now that are getting away with shipping out for a lot less than probably they should, right? Because the post office is shipping them out and losing billions, and yet Raise the rates. I mean, why would we lose billions? It doesn't make any sense.
There's obviously a problem, right? or what I would say, where are you spending it?
Yeah,
And
right.
can you cut that a little bit?
So I'm going to stay on this for one more second because so Postmaster General DeJoy also went in front of Congress, I think like last month, with his controversial plan. And it was controversial. And here it is. We're going to ease delivery standards. We're going to raise rates, and we may cut hours. That's controversial. I'm saying that's how you run a business. You got to raise rates, cut it. You got to do what you can. And yet and here we go. We as we look at that as controversial when it comes to the post office.
First of all,
come on.
First of all, don't ever confuse business and Congress in the same sentence, because those are oxymorons without a question. That is not good business, and politics and business don't truly mix well. I mean, they never have.
Never have. And so now we're going to jump into that container thing. Did you watch 60 Minutes last night?
I did watch 60 Minutes. Good show. Good
Good
episode.
show. And they talked about the transportation. They talked about the bottlenecks all over the place really started off with just focusing out there on the ocean, right?
Right.
Out there in Long Beach, L.A.
Yeah, which is a problem.
Yes.
I
And it was just, so what I found funny on this, and we'll show some of these excerpts tomorrow, but what I thought funny was just some of the questions. So you mean to tell me, and the interview, right?
Yeah.
It was like, it was so simple stuff, and it really is what it is. So you mean you can't go in there and pick up trailers? And the guy, no, I don't have any chassis to put the trailers on, or I can't take it and load an empty one in there, or they're asking for red containers only. And when we get in there,
They turn us around.
Yes, it was just, there was a lot of finger pointing going on.
Yes.
It went all the way, and they followed all the way to Chicago, where the guy in Chicago was just like, man, I have paid over $1 million in storage charges, and I can't even get my trailers out.
Yeah.
Because I'm just getting charged.
That's crazy.
Crazy. They talked about, a lot of price gouging talks going on.
That's what
and as they did that, obviously when you have companies like Maersk out there that are what did they say, like $4 billion this last month in profit? 16 billion in the month?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. And they're talking about, again, paying $20,000 for that container, $20,000 to $25,000 for that container. That last year or any other year costs $2,000 to $3,000 to $4,000.
That's it. Crazy. And then not only do they bring it in, they bury it, and then you can't get it. And
you can't get it. And you know what? What I found was, again, we talk about the productivity side of what we do. Is, when you're touching these containers over and over and over, and they talked about opening up 24 hours a day, and they still had all these docks, right, that nobody was operating out of.
Right.
Well, everybody else has got to be open. And you know what else I found that I guess I didn't know is they were already open like 18 or 19 hours of the 24 anyway.
Yeah,
it made you just feel like when you heard this declare come down that we're going to open 24 hours a day, it made you think that maybe they're only open 8 to 5. Maybe that's all they're open. Maybe it's like a bank or something.
They're open
like
18 hours, and then they extended an additional 6. But the problem is they can't take it to the warehouses because the warehouses, we close.
They're closed. And then they were pointing fingers at the drivers. We have all these, and the drivers are coming, they're missing their appointments, their no-shows. And I think we get both sides of it, right? You can't get there if you can't get your container. All these backups just continue to happen. I'm saying, you know what? If somebody else is there, let them in. Let them in. Don't just because one driver can't make it, we're not going to, we have an open appointment now. Take somebody else in. Bring them in, Get them unloaded, bring empties in, bring loaded trailers out. But here's the deal. At the end of the day, when you have, they have, like 85 ships out there.
Okay, so
take them some. Don't let any more go there.
Stop.
Yeah, leave those there. Get them unloaded. Anybody else, go somewhere else. Go to the Gulf Coast. Go somewhere.
Okay, so I'm still confused, and I didn't know this was a rule. Why can't you bring rust-colored containers? Why can't a color? Why is that? That sounds racist to me. There ought to be like a law.
Container racism.
Container racism. Why can't you bring a rust-colored or a blue one in today? I mean, does that even make sense?
Well, I'm sure the colors have to do with something. blue goes to this part,
Okay.
red goes here. I'm sure and this ship's going out today only, I guess. I don't know. There's some rhyme or reason. We got to get a container guy in here to talk a little bit about the different colors. Producer.
So from what I can see right here, and this could, again, just be something that's not true because I found it after 2 minutes on the internet.
Something
but
not true.
Okay, it
I
could
can
be
do
something.
that part.
Yeah, no, we can do that all day. We're good all day. So colors carry different meanings. It could be a one-time shipping container, or it could be used for round trips. Certain businesses have certain color containers, which can impact its price. So typically, white or almond-colored containers are more expensive. Brown or maroon colored containers are owned by leasing companies, and they usually have logos on them. Then blue, red, and green are colored after the companies that own them. So maybe just certain ports don't take certain companies or certain items.
That makes a little more sense now. But I'll tell you what's frustrating is these. And to me, what's frustrating is we're in line to go bring a container back for hours. And not just 15 minutes, but hours to get in. And they turn you away at the gate, and you miss your appointment, and you have to go, and you can't return that container. Therefore, you don't have an empty chassis, and therefore you can't pull a trailer out. And you're not going to just you got to be bringing them in so that you can pull them out, or you're not going to be able to. My mother called me last night on the phone after she watched. She said, "Well, why don't they just take all those trailers and set them down somewhere, and then you have empty chassis?" I was like, "If you do that, you got to touch them 5 or 6 times, and then you got to. It's not easy to pull those things off a chassis either. You got to have special equipment. You got to be doing it a certain way. So for safety reasons and everything like that, it's not that easy."
So next Tuesday we will have Don Christian with Christian Transportation, Brian Brzezowski with BCB Transport, as we kind of dig into a little bit of the supply chain, what they see happening right now across this world. And even dive into a little bit before COVID. We're going to talk to what happened during that part. Where are we at now with transportation? What are you seeing for this year and for next year as well? How that mandate really does, the vaccine mandate. What do you perceive happening? Do you see how that affecting transportation? So we're going to have a great conversation. It'll be next Tuesday. Looking forward to that. Hey, we'll be back to you in just a second. This is BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. BCB Live covers freight. Here we are now at 21% of record freight being rejected. News over the UK, they have the Army personnel getting ready to start driving the fuel trucks. Weather, traffic.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to some traffic and weather with Buckle Up Bob.
And most importantly, safety.
You can do many things to communicate that you are slowing down. You can flip your hazards on.
Expect craziness like this all the time.
75% of these fatal accidents involving these trucks are with the first two, and it's the driving too fast and tailgating. If this driver hadn't slowed down, this could have been a whole different outcome.
Tune in weekdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch BCB Live through LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live.
Welcome back to BCB Live. Drive Safe Dave. We had a little bit of fake news. I guess it's fake news. What do you think about the news regarding Subway?
I'm not sure.
Is that fake news? So we have tuna, right? That may not be 100% yellow fish, yellow whatever tuna. It's got some chicken in it. It's got some pork. It sounds a little bit like a hot dog. It shouldn't be the Subway hot dog.
So isn't there certain allowances about the amount of other substances inside of 100% of anything by law under the FDA? Like it can have so many percentage of like even roaches or so many percentage, right? I mean, there's a certain thing in there that allows.
Well, the whole thing I think with this is that Subway was pretty adamantly saying this is 100% tuna, and that's even in their court documents are saying, no, this is 100% tuna.
And they still are. They're sticking with their story. They're saying, hey, they're going to fight that. They're going to get it dismissed based on reckless and it's an improper lawsuit. They go back and say it's high quality, wild caught, 100% tuna. And if it's got something else in it, it doesn't seem to me like it could be 100%. I mean,
dolphin.
Yeah. But here's what it is. I mean, they're saying, hey, it's got chicken, pork, some cattle.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
really not 100%.
That's a hot dog.
Yeah.
That's that three
That's
variety
what I was
hot
saying,
dog.
man. Kind of like a little hot dog. Ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of that.
Yeah, I always question that when you go to buy a hot dog and it's got all beef, and then it's got the one with the 3 in it, and they look exactly the same. I'm not sure. And let's be honest. Can you taste a difference?
You know what? Doesn't everything taste like chicken anyway? So if it's got a little bit of chicken in it, I mean, how do you know it all tastes like
It's
chicken?
bad for you. I mean, it's not like
Well, you know, it goes to the religion. That's where I think it's really kind of going to. You have those folks that don't want to eat the meat. You know, and when you have cattle, you know, cattle's considered probably meat product.
Okay.
And if your religion says, you know, fish only, and
Pork.
it's really not,
Pork is
there you go.
Pork's probably
the unclean meat, Drive Safe Dave.
Which
I don't think it exists. You know, is there really such thing as unclean?
No, I was out shooting this weekend.
Hey, so did you guys talk at all about that? I mean, you know what? The deer and the COVID. Do you feel?
I felt like I was out saving lives.
Did you have gloves on?
I was out saving lives. Yes, of course.
Did you, all right, masks? Did you mask up when you went into? I saw a picture with you holding that doe, and you had no mask on. Drive Safe, Dave.
I'm sure after it's dead, it's not coughing. I'm gonna go out on a limb and go. And there's
come on.
Okay, so whenever people got the plague, right? Whenever they died, did the plague just go away? Did that just disappear after that?
Please don't do that, because I'm going to sit here and say that you don't get the plague from each person. You get it from a flea, right?
Actually, that's not true.
No, it
it's
is.
not
Look
just.
It up. That's how they were spread, by fleas on rodents. That's how the plague was transferred.
Initially, yes, but once you treat.
Continuously, it came
That's
from
the
fleas.
only way.
Oh my God!
Is it the only way, Drive? Is that what you're saying right now? That was the only way.
I'm saying that's how it was spread, was by fleas.
The only way it was spread was by fleas.
Absolutely.
All right, we have a little. That's our first thing right there. We can look that up. The only way the plague was spread was by fleas. Said here by dry. I'm just quoting you.
Does malaria,
other important
I guess
ways.
you could get malaria if you had a blood transfusion, right? I mean, I get that, okay? But do you normally get malaria from any other way than
I don't know. I don't know. I've never had it.
First of all, other very important ways that it spread included handling of infections, inhaling droplets from humans, or by exposure whenever dealing with a dead body.
In which all three of those happened with you.
Today.
All three of those happened that day when you killed that deer. All three of those things happened, and I didn't hear any mention of flea mentioned in that at all.
Okay, no, did it say they weren't spread by fleas? Or saying it wasn't? Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb. But yeah, I did not. But I did wear gloves.
All right, I'm good with that. I mean, that's half of it, right? That's a third of it, I guess. Still got to mask up. We want to remind you to still today that when you can keep your hands clean still today. When you're outside of your bubble, try to wear your mask. Wear something to cover that up, just to give you protection and to protect others. And if you can, they're still free, right? The COVID shot.
They are still free. In fact, boosters are now open, and they've got.
Have you had a booster yet?
No, I'm supposed to get one this week.
Gotcha. So boosters coming up, and so when the booster shot happens, what's that doing? Is it just another shot?
It's just another shot. It basically rebuilds that immunity and allows for the extension of the vaccine to last even longer. So it's supposed to help you like the vaccine, because it will wear out over time, right? It loses its potency, its effectiveness over time, and the booster allows that to be extended.
And now that deer season's here, I suggest you go get it, because you, my friend, were just exposed to more and more COVID particles.
Well, I did check the ID card of the deer that I killed, and it did have its vaccination, so we're good.
Hey, I want to get into a little bit. We heard another story on CDL Live. Before we get there, let's talk a little Haiti. I know maybe we can get Mr. Bonilla on the show later this week, but we had some more news out in Haiti in which it's just getting out of control. No news yet, right, on the 17 Americans and the Canadian that have the missionaries. Nothing back yet from them. I guess they're still just being held hostage. Drive Safe.
Yeah, they're still. There have been proof of life sent out, but they have not reached an agreement on their negotiations. So they're still being held, and now there is a huge push in the country. They are kidnapping a lot of people in retaliation to the government trying to make a change, and it's just continuing to spiral out of control as there's very little law and order in Haiti right now.
Man, on Wednesday they had armed men stopped a bus carrying 52 people. They killed the police officer on there, held those folks for 24 hours later on, letting them all go. Also, you have Jimmy, the barbecue Chirizer, I think is how you say his name. He was that former policeman that runs the most powerful gang there in Haiti, that they are now holding the fuel hostage. So now it's kind of gone from not just people, but now we're not going to let you have fuel. And he's demanding this that the prime minister, he gets ousted. Prime Minister Henry, I believe, they want him ousted, and it's non-negotiable. If you want fuel, if you want gas, this is what it's going to take. And drive safe, Dave. The gangs in Haiti today, they control half the city, the capital, and the surrounding cities. So it's big time out there. I don't know what's going to happen in there. But, the U.S. is obviously saying, hey, it's time to get out. If you're a U.S. citizen, I don't know, first of all, if it would have taken me this long to get out of there.
No.
But if you're a U.S. citizen, they're saying get out.
Yeah, they got, and you sit there and you say that, but there's doctors and there's relief workers. There's people in there trying to be helpful, but they do.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
And I'll tell you what, right now, this is when, and the hard part about policing this or making this effective is that these gang members can blend in quickly and disappear when you bring in a large military or a uniformed force. They can just blend in, drop their weapon, and now they're just a guy standing on the street. And that's how difficult it is to make this change in this environment. Something's got to be done. And we're moving towards martial law, and that's really tough in a free society.
Bringing it back here to the States, over in El Paso, we had another vehicle coming out of El Paso, has over 60 migrants in it, gets pulled over at the Alpine checkpoint there,
Yep, the one
and a
at
major
99.
bust happens right there. Drive safe, Dave. Listen, they pulled in there. They had some doors on there. They opened the inspections. They say, all right, we're going to open these doors in the trailer because this isn't normal. They open that up, full of people, including, some that have been kicked out of the United States already with felonies already on them for drug selling, for, sexual abuse, items like that.
Trying to get back in. And they had a false wall. So they were in there and they had just put up this wall in the trailer. So when you look in the trailer, it looks empty. But when you look closer, that wall's actually a little bit too close. And they noticed that it had been drilled in, just plywood. They didn't get real creative. But then when they pulled that down, they found 50 people. That's quite a few people.
Yeah, that was 40 Mexican nationals. They had some folks from Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, including 3 or 4 minors under the age of 13 locked in, bringing them over here. Obviously, that driver of that's going to have some kind of federal charges brought up against him or her, whoever that is. That's really all we've heard so far. But my goodness, I'm just going to say this. If you're out there driving, you're bringing a container, a trailer, you're coming from a border city, drive safe, Dave. There's some protocols you should always do. Number 1, make sure your seal is still intact.
Yeah, do a couple of things, first of all. Number 1, even if you don't have a seal on your trailer, place one on there and make sure you write down the number of the seal. Even if you have an empty trailer, seal it up anyway so that
Especially if you have an empty trailer.
And then place a padlock on the trailer itself. I'm not saying that that'll keep people out, but an easy target you don't want to be. And if you place a padlock on your trailer, it just makes you a less easy of a target. Thirdly, make sure whatever seal that you do have down, make sure you write it down, whether it's yours or theirs. Make sure you know it's the proper seal, right? It's on the trailer. And always inspect your trailer all the way around for any type of tampering, no matter what you do, whenever you're close to the border, doing whatever it is you do out there on the road, because it is easy to hide on top, underneath, and it's dangerous. You got to make sure that you do a really good check.
Yeah, drive safe, Dave. Going into, I do want to talk this as we get ready for Buckle Up, Bob. In South Carolina, reported in CDL Life as well. And before we get to that story, perhaps, produce if you can, let's go back and show the video of last week when we had that 4-wheeler passing us on the shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
What the danger is. And here we look at it right now, and we see this pass on the shoulder, bad things. We're lucky there wasn't a fatality involved in that at this moment for sure, right?
Absolutely. So the vehicle, not only does it pass on the right, it's two wheels on the right of the vehicle are in soft, and therefore they have higher friction than the ones on the deal. And then what it does is it causes the vehicle to careen almost out of control, and the driver actually almost overcorrected. And if it had spun out of control in front of both of these big rigs, we could be looking at a very, very dangerous situation. at this point right now is because both trucks would have had a difficult time in stopping.
Yeah, so last Thursday up in Spartanburg County, South Carolina, on eastbound 26, listen, a pickup truck goes around, just much like we saw right here, goes around, passes on the shoulder. There's a big truck parked already on the side.
Oh.
Slams into it, causes the truck that it's trying to pass, again on the shoulder, to also slam into it. The passenger of the pickup truck is killed. The driver of the big truck and the driver of the truck that passed, the pickup truck, both taken to the hospital. These highways, you know, when we show these videos, Drive Safe Dave, man, they're just critical that we've got to stay focused on not only what we are doing, but also on those vehicles that possibly are going to pass you to the left or right, and you have to stay focused. There's a video that I also want us to look at, and it kind of shows one of the subjects we've been talking about, and I'm going to tie all these together because as when we're out there driving in that right lane or left lane, whatever it is you're doing out there, the big truck, you've got to make sure that your vision is there. We talk all the time about getting too close, giving yourself the ability to stop or slow down, do something when something happens. And oftentimes when we go to pass or we stay in that right shoulder, when we talk about getting too close to somebody, what we're saying is you don't see what's ahead of those other vehicles. And when something happens, right, when another vehicle stops, when there's something in the road, bad things happen when you're following too close. Producers, show this video here, and we're going to see it right here. Again, we get into the left lane. We want to pass, and here we go. We're going, we're a little close. Here we go. We get in there, and we're moving. We're catching up to everybody. Drive safe. We can't see the mattress right here. Bam. We don't see it. And I'm saying is that we've got to be ready. Look for the signs when you get into that left lane. Look up ahead, and you can just see, like, all right, look, there's some chaos going up there, right? The vehicle, everybody's kind of moving, and here we go.
Yeah.
We just got to be careful on there. We got to be able to, you can't see, Drive Safe Dave, and you've been out there in the truck, you can't see what's in front of the vehicle that's really in front of you. You can't see what's right there sometimes, especially if there's two vehicles up there.
Well, you definitely can't see if it's a truck in front of you, but even a four-wheeler blocks, like you said, debris on the road because the line of sight has to be extended so far. You really have to watch the vehicles in front of you, but make sure that you maintain the proper spacing between the. That's why the second rule is so important. You never want to close in on that gap and make sure that you don't you close it too quickly. What happens here? I'm going to just tell you, as these vehicles are slowing, as they see something in the road, you have to take those indications quickly. And not just be, I mean, you've got to be wary of what's going on and watch for those blues clues that you like to say out there on the road.
Yeah, so we had last week, we showed the video of a car passing us. We saw the fatality with the pickup truck that just happened last Thursday. Here, Drive Safe Dave, and I want to see it one more time on here. You talk about something important. You've got to recognize or realize, have that sense that I'm getting too close to that vehicle in front of me. So when when that mattress is there, we're looking at that and we're like, okay, I see what you're saying right now. Boy, I'm gaining on that white car really fast. Something must be going on. I got to slow down.
Right. You got to watch out. And what's really bad is that debris can be in many forms on the road. It doesn't have to be something like a mattress. It can be tires. It can be, and what's really sad is it can be people. And it can be objects in the road that you don't want to hit. You've got to be wary of what's going on, especially what's happening out here. And when you see vehicles slowing like this, maintain this distance that you have here.
Drive safe, Dave. If there's somebody in that white car right there and they stop, right, instead of hitting the mattress, they stop, that car's getting rear-ended.
Absolutely.
There is a fatality happening here.
Yes.
And why is my question. Why aren't we slowing down? We've got to be slowing down. We've got to, if we say expect the unexpected, that means the unexpected is not unexpected anymore. You've got to maintain your space.
Now, look.
And you know what? Well, I don't have time to stop. You're going too fast then.
Yeah, you are going too fast. And what you're doing is you're not maintaining that proper distance between you and the vehicles in front of you. You've got to be able to stop behind this car and also behind this truck.
Yes, sir, we do. Hey, Drive Safe Dave, it is time for that phrase that pays. You ready for it?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it, buddy.
It's that time of year, never veer for deer.
One more time.
It's that time of year, never veer for deer.
All right, and drive safe, Dave, the great hunter. Tell us what that means to you.
As hunting season goes about, I'm just saying the animals are out there moving around. Look, when they enter the roadway and you have a choice to make, you've got to be able to hit there. Don't swerve the truck. Don't make a dangerous move bad. If you hit the deer, it is what it is. But I don't want you flipping, rolling, damaging, or putting somebody else's life in danger over a deer in the road. Make sure that if you have to, hit the deer.
Drive safe, Dave. Real quick before we go to break, was there any truth that deer just saw you get shot and ducked down? Is that what happened?
Yeah, there was
a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that.
This is BCB Live. We're the safest station in the nation. Buckle up, Bob. Coming up next.
Larkin here, host of BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. If you don't already know about Freight Review, it's a segment I cover once a week where I analyze freight rejections, freight tenders, driver productivity, and much, much more. You can watch Freight Review on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Monday and to the safest station in the nation. Buckle up, Bob here, and we're going to talk a little bit about, as we always do, start you off with some traffic. The DFW area looks pretty good. I mean, it is really just the typical run-of-the-mill stop-and-go traffic, for rush hour. Again, the trouble spots, 35W coming up from Burleson into the 20 loop, but the loop itself looks pretty good. And again, we've got some coming in from the east out here on 20 as we come into this 635 loop as well, coming into the Dallas area. And also out here in Forney, coming in on 80, you have some pretty good slowdowns there. But all in all, you're looking at that 15 to 20 minute delay. 15 to 20 minutes, when you stop and think about it, everybody, just, be patient, right? Patient, slow down, increase your space. Hey, as we go to Kansas City looks really great. I mean, there's just not much going on. Maybe a couple minutes here and there in some traffic areas, but nothing major going on in the Kansas City area. So if you're approaching Kansas City, should not have too many issues this morning. Chicago looks pretty clear too. Even Bolingbrook looks good. 88 out to the west looks good. 90 up in the north and to the west looks good. The loops look great. Just a little bit of a slowdown here on the 294 loop right there by Hickory Hills. So not too bad. And then, of course, the downtown area. But the loops all look good as you come into your Chicago area this morning. Atlanta. Atlanta, it seems to always be bad. It's probably one of the worst cities, right? For traffic. I mean, it is getting comparable out there to the California highway system. But, again, we've got it out here at Stonecrest coming in from the east on 20 to the 285 loop. And then once you get on the loop, you've got it in all different directions, north, south, east, west. The only clean section is down here in this little bit down by the airport, which is really kind of amazing when you figure that the Atlanta airport is one of the busiest in the country. So it's just always odd that the traffic's everywhere else but the airport. So coming into Atlanta, expect delays, major delays as you come into the Atlanta area. Remember, folks, you cannot, if you're a driver out there, for another carrier, you cannot pass through to cut across. You must take the loops around. It's a state law that unless you deliver inside the loop, you're not to be in there with a truck. Philadelphia actually looks a little bit better. It seems more spotty, than normal. So again, normal traffic on 76 all the way up by King of Prussia, just starting to build back up there. And then on the New Jersey side looks pretty good as well. 295 all the way along the river looks good. And even 95, you got just a little bit of a slowdown up here by Cheltenham and across the river from Palmyra. But the rest of it looks pretty good. And Swarthmore on 476, always a backup area there as well. Nashville, 24, 24 is always a problem as you're coming up from the southeast, but the loops look really good, and we have our normal congestion right here at the 655-24 highway split, if you will, in the Nashville area. So let's go see wow, Baltimore looks great. For the start this morning, just some slowdown here on the western side of the loop from Woodlawn all the way up to Pikesville, and then a little bit of a slowdown coming in from the northeast on 795, and we have a little bit of a backup. So you're looking at these, this is probably going to be about a 20 to 25 minute delay, and you got about a 10-minute delay up here near Parkville. But the rest of the Baltimore area looks really good this morning as you go into the airports. And then if we get down to the D.C. area, hey, it looks pretty good as well. I mean, it's Washington, D.C., of course, but the loop looks really good. Just a little bit of a slowdown down here by Springfield and Annandale. And then, of course, the northern part has always got some congestion. But all in all, the traffic looks pretty good. It looks like nothing more than a 20, 25-minute delay in some areas. Probably not even that. So, hey, looks like the traffic's really good this morning. So just be patient out there. Don't create a problem, right? Traffic's going to back up once the accidents happen. So be patient. Keep your space out there. Slow it down a little bit. Hey, as we go to weather, again, the big story is going to be the winds again a little bit. As we start out, we've just got a little pocket right here north of Denver into Wyoming. And as we'll check here, you got some 40-mile-an-hour gusts. So, folks, 40-mile-an-hour gusts, we need to slow it down to 55, right? And you're going to be fine. You can see the Denver area here, 32-mile-an-hour gusts. So it just requires some speed reduction. But here's what I want to show you. As we go through the day, watch this northwest a little bit. The system starts to move in, and you can see 45, but right up here by Seattle, you're going to be looking at the 60-mile-an-hour gusts potential. Also has some wind picking up here in the northeastern section. Pennsylvania, you might see some 36-mile-an-hour gusts. And this is the forecast at 1 p.m. today. And you can see this one shrunk a little bit as the day went. But as we go into it, there it is. You can see that northwest really blows up. Now this stays pretty much as we go through the week. It stays up in the north. So Wyoming will get hit. There you go. On Tuesday, you can see it stays along there as it moves out and dips a little bit, but most of the rest of the country stays pretty good. So what we're going to be watching is, hey, for the next 72 hours, from Seattle and Oregon, Washington State and Oregon, all the way across, you're going to see some dangerous winds. So if you've got any loads going up north, up above that 80, I don't think Nebraska gets hit too bad this week so far. Not till Wednesday, Nebraska, you'll start seeing, but you can see most of the dangerous winds stay right up there along that northern corridor. So above the 80 highway there, we're going to have some winds throughout the week, all the way through to Wednesday. They start to kick up in the central and southern central part of the country on Wednesday. The other thing we've got going on is some snow up here in the northeast. I wanted to show, here's what the new snow is for the next 24 hours. And you can see up here in New York, near Utica and along the Pennsylvania border out here in Erie, you're going to be looking at about 4 to 6 inches of potential snow. We're getting that time of year, right? Middle of November. So we're going to watch that a little bit, but in the next 24 hours, up there in New York, you expect some of that white stuff. So again, you have to slow down. You have to increase your space. The winter weather is coming, folks. So we've got to do, all the drivers out there, do what you got to do to be safe, be able to stop. Remember, if it turns into ice, these temperatures are going to be dropping and fluctuating a lot at this time of year. So you're going to go in from ice to snow to rain, all kinds of stuff. Just get off. A lot of times it's just waiting a couple hours and the conditions improve for you. So as far as the rain, not too much going on. You can see you got the snow up here in Pennsylvania and a little bit possible snow flurries in Chicago this afternoon as well. Tomorrow, as we go through, you can see the snow kind of dies a little bit. We start to get some in here with them winds that come in from the northwest as well. We're going to take a quick little break, and we'll be right back with some safety.
Welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. We just right then were all exposed to COVID as Drive Safe Dave sneezed all the way around.
I covered my face entirely with my hands.
Entirely? Let me see it again. I think that's fake news right there, sir.
Covered it entirely.
Sure sounds fake. Just like the plague information you gave out earlier.
Thank you, Buckle Up Bob. It's always good to have a little support here on BCB Live because we are the safest station in the nation. Speaking of safety, Buckle Up Bob, what's in store for us this week?
This week, and it was, we did not plan it, but you talked a little bit this morning about the people in the truck and the false thing, and what attended a safety conference meeting last Tuesday, and their actual topic was human trafficking. And what really was alarming is how important that Texas plays a role in this. There is a corridor, 35 stretches all the way up to Minnesota, but there is a hot corridor from Houston to Oklahoma City that is really being monitored. And so what we want to talk about, one of the organizations they brought up was TAT, and it's Truckers Against Trafficking. And what happened is the law enforcement, a lot of this stuff and the transitions and stuff are going on at truck stops. So they're trying to partner with truck stops and the truckers and train them on what to look for and report it so that they can help really tackle this problem. In 2009, it was kind of started out just as a kind of an initiative, and in 2011 it became an organization. And I know recently San Antonio did a seminar to train truckers on what to look for. This initiative is going to go get broader, and there's a lot of states that have the organization existing in them. We'll try to give them a little bit later, but just to give you some numbers on the trafficking, and this is all trafficking, from labor to sex trafficking as well, all being done. Globally, there are an estimated of 40 million people that are enslaved in the world. In the USA, human trafficking exists in every single state in the United States. And in Texas, there's an estimated 313,000 victims to human trafficking just in the state of Texas alone. So we're going to have some numbers, and some of the numbers that are really astonishing is the fact of how many arrests are made and versus the convictions. It is staggering that they just don't get to convict them a whole lot. And so just going to show some of the numbers and what Texas, again, is leading, trying to lead the country in tackling this ongoing problem that is really growing. It's getting worse. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and what Texas is doing and what some of the local states, and give everybody some numbers and hopefully some sites that you can go in and find out more. All you got to do is Google Texas or Truckers Against Trafficking, and all kinds of websites and how to join, how to be a part of that, how to get some training to help you identify when you're at these truck stops. They don't want you involved other than, hey, notice it and call it in and let them take it over, because it is dangerous, but it is a huge problem. And Texas is kind of a main thoroughfare in part of that. We've got some videos. Again, one of the things that, I encourage all drivers out there to do is, hey, these are about educating, right? And it looked like nothing happened there, but it seemed a little close call, because at the end, that other vehicle coming the other way was worried enough to get over onto the shoulder. So, right here when you watch, as it goes by, that vehicle's over on the shoulder. And so that kind of suggests that this was maybe one of those late things. So, hey, encouraged to look at the more video. We've requested more video just to see what can we help this driver out with. Did they actually do anything wrong? Or if they did, we'll be able to coach them on it and get to see a little bit more. So we've requested a minute before and a minute after, just to kind of see what you can do and learn from this, because something was there that other vehicle felt unsafe, right, and got off to the shoulder. This next one, great job by this driver. Here's this OV, puts a blinker on. I think had a quick little notion of jumping more than one lane. And this driver did a great job, hit the brakes, got that speed or that space, and then the driver came over and made another one. And you can see they're going to cut over. So that driver, I think, right here was intending to jump at least 2 or 3 lanes right off the bat, and luckily got this view of the truck, and the truck also getting the big picture. Great job by that driver. Intersections, again, folks, one of the things I like to see here was, it doesn't seem like there was really much slowdown. These are blinking yellow lights, which are probably more dangerous than red ones, right? If they're going to run a red one, why wouldn't they run a blinking yellow one? So when you're on these secondary highways, folks, just slow down and be prepared to stop. You can see from back here, he's pulling that vehicle's pulling out, and you don't see a whole lot of slowdown just in case something goes wrong.
Yeah, I mean, when you see that video right there, right at the get-go, we talk about that we talked about that on Saturday as well, as when you see those things, when you see that car pulling out, that truck right now, just slow down. There's no reason to make it closer than it needs to be. There's no reason. We see with the four-wheelers all the time, they'll get up and then start honking their horn. There's no reason. The instance has happened, so back off.
The reason for the yellow blinking light, obviously, is that this intersection is dangerous enough that they feel it's necessary to warn you to be cautious. And by not slowing down, you aren't entering into a cautious area or trying to be safe. The whole purpose of the blinking yellow light is yelling, hey, be cautious, this is a dangerous intersection. Now, the opposing lights are probably red, but that has nothing to do with your being sure that you're slowing down and being cautious, because that's what they're telling you right there. Slow down, be cautious before you enter into this intersection.
Yeah, and you can see by not slowing down, and we see this all the time, it leads to more dangerous. Now we're going to make a lane change right after the intersection, and you've got a vehicle sitting there. What if that vehicle pulled out into the right lane, and you jumped out there? There was about a 3-second lapse. You're not going to be able to stop on maybe them. So you've got to, Sir Rick said it, just slow down.
I mean, just slow down.
And be ready for...
Just slow down. I mean, you see them crossing, just slow down at that moment. Take your time, get back, make sure you keep your space there. You don't have to rush into the right lane. And to your point, buckle up, Bob. If that car in front of this, if that car to the right lane that can come out, if it decides to go out, we're in trouble once again.
Yes, we are.
Where are we going to go? We've lost our drive safe. There's probably no room to your left. And there's definitely nothing to your right where you can go.
Nope.
Bad things are going to happen once again. Slow down.
And here, again, we got just a merge point, patience, right? And just, this was kind of you got construction, and then you got this car that can't make up its mind. Now, this driver does eventually stop and slow down, but just, hey, we know the merge point's coming up. Keep getting that big picture. You've got construction, so you just got to be aware, there's that wall, right? Yeah, I think this one had the Jersey wall right there for the construction. So there's nowhere to go. Yeah. So pretty good job, but you can see that one car was kind of caught out in no man's land there.
But what I like about this is that our speed is reduced and reduced to allow us that ability to stop if we need to. And that's what we didn't see in that last video. We didn't see a reduction in speed, just like Drive Safe in the video before Buckle Up Bob came on. We saw that mattress in there where we gained space. We gained our space was reduced on that white vehicle in the left lane. We've got to slow down, apply brakes. Those have got to be our first methods to use.
Mm-hmm. And this was also a great video of the drivers improving, because what we see in a lot of these good videos now were drivers that were having a lot of the other ones that were coachable, and they're being coachable. And so, you just got to keep companies out there. Keep talking to the drivers. They are listening, even when you think they're not. Yeah, there's going to be them one or two that don't, but really the drivers are trying to become safer here.
So there are a couple of great things about this video as I watch it and view it. And you see in the beginning, you see the merge point sign right there that it's coming up. So you already know that you have the sign has already warned you of a merge point. But a couple of things here as you look at the video. Number one, you're on an uneven surface in construction. All right, already a challenging to make sure that you keep control of the vehicle. Secondly, you have the extended and long shadows of the day. So it is either waning or it is early in the morning. And it plays, those lights can play tricks on you as far as distances and actually what's in the road and what you're dealing with, because the Jersey wall is pretty much shielding what the road condition is and what you're entering it onto. So that dark shadow can create a little bit more difficulty. But as you approach this, make sure that you're cautious, because obviously these two individuals up here aren't really sure what they're doing. I mean, so you've got to be the bigger person and the better driver and give them the space that they need to make the right decision.
This one here, great job. You talk about patience. This is just unbelievable. I guess you can't say that anymore. It's like saying unexpected. Comes OV, just going to run right through the red light, right around a truck. and into a dangerous intersection. And I just, great job of this driver. Just sit still and don't move.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know if there's a pedestrian crossing if you're in that four-wheeler. I mean, hey, four-wheelers, if you're watching this show, if you drive a four-wheeler for a living, you can't do things like this. Number one, it's against the law. Number two, what you can't see is if there's a pedestrian getting ready to cross over, doing something on a bicycle. You never know what's going to happen when you just cross over like that. It's not valuing life. No. The life of yourself, the life of others in that crosswalk, and it's illegal.
Yeah, and not only this, our truck is obviously with the turn indicator on. We are indicating that we are going to turn right, but we're waiting for the intersection to clear, going to make sure it's safe. And if you don't do the right thing here, you absolutely can get a lot of people hurt. Because obviously, if we're waiting, there's a reason we're waiting. So not only is it red, we can turn right on red, but we're waiting for a reason. And you can't, and by doing that, you're disregarding the caution that this truck is doing out there on the road.
Correct. Yep. Some great videos. And again, got to slow down. That season's coming up with the winter weather. We're already going to see it in New York today. So again, we're there, folks. It's that time of the year where we've just got to slow down. What's the phrase that pays? Tis the season?
To be jolly. La 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 la.
I was trying to think.
It's the season it's for deer, not beer, right? So,
hey, if you have any questions on the videos or the phrase that pays, it sounds like we're giving it out right now. Either way, hey, raise your hand. Get involved with the show. If you have comments, questions on any of these videos, let us know. We have a few minutes at the end of the day, but we're going to go back into Drive Safe Dave. You begin out there on the road. How important is slowing down and increasing space in making all of your decisions a little bit easier?
That is fundamentally the very first way in which you can become successful in any of these adverse or difficult situations. It's that moment when you get off the gas and you realize that you're giving yourself a chance.
But the whys. Let's hit that. There's reasons why we don't do it. I mean, we saw videos and we see it all the time. We don't do it. What's ways that we can remind ourselves to increase that space? Because there's got to be something in our mind that triggers that I'm doing something wrong, that I'm getting too close.
You got to go through constantly that mental exercise of counting behind the vehicle in front of you. Always try to find a way today, no matter what you're doing, as you drive, you've got to go back into your brain and go 1001, 1002. Well, I'm a little too close. I need to back off just a minute. Now, or I need to get into the right area of where I'm traveling, or make a good decision. But I'm telling you, before you make any of these situations, as whether you enter into adverse or difficult, give yourself the opportunity to succeed. And the only way to do that is to give space and speed.
Yeah, and there's reasons. I mean, at the end of the day, we can go through and do that 1001, 1002, 1003, 99 out of 100 times, and that one time you don't do it, maybe the time there's a mattress in the road, maybe the time there's a pedestrian in that road, maybe the time that the vehicles in front of you have stopped, and if you're not counting, you're not looking at that, you're distracted, it may be that time that you kill somebody.
Absolutely.
And I want to make sure that you get that part. That one time may be the time you actually take the life of somebody else, and I just can't imagine. First of all, I know none of us want that, but that's how critical what you do is. That's how critical your job is compared to our job, where we have that ability to take our eyes off the camera and nothing's going to happen. You don't have that luxury. You've got to be game ready all the time, ready to go, because one instance is all it takes. Producer, I know we have a couple callers. Who do we got?
Yeah, we got Donna Kaysen. What do you got for us?
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Donna.
On that video where the mattress was in the road, that driver changed lanes, the four-wheeler was to the left of it. It looked like that four-wheeler was fixing to just come on out. That's another thing we all have to remember and take into consideration. These four-wheelers are not ready for us to make the moves that we make at times. They are focused on one thing. We have to, make decision after decision after decision. And I'm pretty sure that that car probably did not see that truck. And it looked like he or she was fixing to pull out. And if that, I mean, also running over that mattress, kicked that mattress up. I know it did at whatever speed we were going. And it could have hit that car. I mean, there's so many things, but it looked like that car was coming out. And that driver had to, you know, I don't know. It scared me.
Yeah,
you know,
that car was definitely coming out, and again, from the four-wheeler perspective, you know, we don't know what's on their mind. At the end of the day, what could be on their mind is if they went to the left to avoid the mattress. Certainly, the big truck's going to go to the left and miss the mattress.
Yeah. So as you're approaching this scenario and you look at it, when that car goes off to the shoulder, you don't want to be flying by it. I mean, you're why are they moving directly? Give them the space, because not only are you protecting them from you, you're protecting them from the people behind you. Yep. So you've got to make sure that you're aware of what's going on here. Get off the cruise. You know what I mean? Slow down. You don't want to enter those situations full on and in cruise and not in control of the vehicle.
Thank you for that, Donna. Who else do we have, producer?
Yeah, we also got Cool Dude, then David Mason. What you got for us?
Cool Dude. Top of the morning to you, sir.
What's up, Warren?
Cool Dude in the house. Let's go. All right. How about you, David Mason? Talk to us, buddy.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I was just going to add in, you were talking about the counting thing. One of the things I learned when I learned the Smith system, and then when I took a teaching class to teach the Smith system, and I did this with my daughter and even with my son, and when my wife rode with me, is a verbal, like, take time out of, and it sounds goofy, and when you first start doing it, you'll think you look goofy and you sound goofy. But 20 minutes a day, you're driving, just verbalize everything you're seeing. Okay, I'm looking up here and I'm gaining on this truck, and don't count in your head. Okay, I'm going to pick this line. This tree just went past this mile marker, 1001, 1002. You count out loud. Okay, I'm too close. I need to back off. Or if I've got technology in the truck that shows me my distance or anything like that, as you change lanes, as you look in your mirror, okay, I'm looking in my mirror to see if I got it clear. Now I'm looking back. I'm holding my space. I'm looking in my mirror again. I look in my right mirror. Okay, now I'm going to start over. I look ahead and just verbalize everything you're doing, everything you're seeing, everything you're looking at. Do that for 20 minutes a day, and it will increase. It will turn into a habit, and it works. And I was just going to add that in there.
No, I like that. Great point on that, Mr. Mason. So there goes a gentleman that has taken the class, has taught the class, giving us some of that expert advice to go millions of miles accident-free, and that's what it takes. When you get these million milers together, and maybe we can do that, producer. Maybe in the next couple of weeks we can grab some 1,000,000 to 4,000,000 milers, and let's get them on the show. Habits of successful folks. And let me tell you something, when you've done that 1,000,000 miles, 3,000,000 miles, whatever that is, wow, what a success that is. And we've got to hear and share those stories. Drive safe, Dave. Hey, let's close this out with a prayer, Mr. Dober.
Dear Heavenly Father, we gather before you today on this Monday to say thank you for everything, and thank you for being with us today. Father, we ask that you give us the ability to do the right thing today, to be courageous, to go out there and do what needs to be done, and do your will upon the world as we see it. Father, we also ask that you give us the strength to be helpful, to be kind, to be considerate to all those around us. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Look up ahead, look at the distance, count, talk, like Mr. Mason said, verbalize what you're doing. Find ways to make yourself better today. Have the courage to do something different, to change your habits and to work on better habits to make our industry safer. God bless. We'll see you all this afternoon. This is BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.